my feeling is he kind of said what, I don't know, I feel like I tried to articulate, because I feel like there are quarterbacks that are too creative for him. There are quarterbacks that aren't creative enough for him. And Purdy, at this point, is perfect for him. At this point. Because he can make plays in the pocket, and he's got some escapability. You know, and you know what? And I can say this confidently, even though I never saw more than 2 practices. The bottom line with Trey Lance is he could not make plays from the pocket. And there is no doubt
but why?
that Kyle Shanahan thought he could. Because the number one prerequisite for Kyle Shanahan, and he's made it clear for 7 years, is my quarterback's got to make throws from the pocket. There's no way you move up to number 3, give up 2 first-round picks, and say, I know he can't play from the pocket, but I'll teach him how to.
That's a deal breaker.
That's what you draft. That's who you draft in the 7th round, not as the 3rd pick. So
think of the disappointment Kyle felt without expressing himself, but like, oh my gosh. That's like me going to get a car with the V8 engine and I press on the gas, Steiny, and there's no power. Like, how do you get past that?
I don't know. 888-957-9570 is the number. I guess my question would be, you know, I think Purdy, and I've said this, has the best shot of any of the quarterbacks who've been through here under Shanahan to quarterback this team for 3 more years. Let's just say the next 3 years. And obviously you wanted him to be a franchise quarterback. But I'm not even saying franchise quarterback because we've been so far from that during the Shanahan era. It's a joke. So
see, that's where I take offense a little bit because Garoppolo, he set the bar.
How about keeping
Brock, can you
healthy?
take him to the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I know you can take him to the NFC Championship. I did that 2 times. But can you do it? Can you take him to a Super Bowl? So the bar, Jimmy has done some things here, though. I guess that's all that I'm preaching.
And all I'm saying is, can we find a quarterback who can play consecutive years, that doesn't get hurt, that Kyle likes, to take the drama out of the quarterback position?
Well, Brock's already off to a rough start there because he got hurt at the most inopportune times, Donnie.
Or is Kyle in the quarterback situation one that's, I don't know, going to be in flux?
All right. I want to say something to you because I know we're being positive. For a couple of days away from the Niners, Pittsburgh. It kind of irritates me when you say Kyle doesn't take the best quarterback. I don't like that he says something that most coaches would die for might be a turnoff to him. That's just a thought. And maybe you never truly get what you want because you look at Deshaun Watson before Massagegate. You look at Mahomes, and maybe
they're different. He wants Mahomes.
He had a chance to draft him,
and so did 10 other teams. I mean,
but if you would have had those same principles towards Trey Lance that you had when you were looking at Mahomes, and you had a bunch of college games why didn't he think that was attractive?
I don't know.
Okay.
But that's in the past. What I'm saying is if you told him you could have Brock Mahomes now, he would obviously take him.
Oh, well, man.
I don't think he'd take Watson. Hey, we'll give you Deshaun Watson right now.
Yeah.
I don't
he
think
looked shot last year, so it's a big year for him.
Forget about what happened off the field. I don't think Kyle Shanahan would want.
Good Deshaun Watson when he was taking the Texans to the playoffs?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I think he'd obviously Mahomes.
Now that bothers me. I don't know why.
I think he'd take Justin Herbert.
But that's a coach's dream.
But I don't think he'd take Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Steiny, stop. Well,
Aaron Rodgers would tell him to hit the bricks. See, that's the other thing. He cannot coach a quarterback who can stand up to him in a way. I don't think he's got that in him to coach a really a big ego quarterback. So Purdy, right? And to me, he looks at Jimmy Garoppolo and says, you know what, Jimmy's a little too smart for his own good. I think he looked at Jimmy Garoppolo and thought, you're not good enough to question me as much as you do.
You didn't bow down like I thought you would.
Exactly.
Oh, my God. I got to read this. 9408. 925 Steiny. Guys, why don't you just come out and say it? Shanahan's overrated. The narrative has always been on Shanny's side. I don't agree with that. I'm giving you his brilliance on play design and running an offense. All that I question now, Steiny, is what you see in a quarterback, i.e. Trey Lance, because that was a debacle. And then 2, when the game's on the line, can you get out of your own way because you're almost a genius and you go away from the wrong stuff? So situational play calling for me is all that I have on the to-do list for Kyle, and they'll probably never get another chance to draft a quarterback, but identifying a quarterback, that went out the window. So there's no overrated there. I'm separating the two.
Well, there's a lot of aspects to coaching. Tons of aspects to coaching. No coach has it all. I mean, again, I asked how great of a motivator is Kyle Shanahan, and how important is motivation to you?
Do the Niners play hard? Yes, they do. So to me, I'm just saying, not that you're not. That box is checked.
Well, and I would tell you that team's a team full of professionals and veterans.
But would that be defined as a hater?
Why?
You know
I'm just
what
asking.
you did?
I didn't say anything.
What
is he? How's he as a leader? How's he as a leader
because
of men?
See,
you can't just say
some
great.
answers we're never going to get because we're not in the know. But it's like you said, hey, Goo, or Bonte did. You got 2 kids in college. Does that make me a great parent? Because you're never going to know what went on in between. But all you know is 2 kids went to college. I'm just asking, like, Steiny, we're never going to know how much of a motivator the guy is besides how his team plays and go about their business.
Did he motivate
and
Garoppolo?
Right now,
how motivated was Garoppolo?
Motivated enough to get him to the Super Bowl and get up from every time he got hit in the keister.
And that wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for Kyle. Either
but for the greater good of the team, Steiny, they play.
How come you're not giving me that he's been here 7 years and we still don't have a quarterback? We have hope again for another quarterback.
Well, you said motivator. I'm saying the Niners play their ass off in a physical brand of football more so than anybody else, so we got to just give them that.
I'm not giving him that.
Wow.
See, that's something that is said to me by hometown radio people and hometown TV people. 49ers play harder than any team in the NFL. I don't. Prove that. You can't prove that. Oh, they play harder than the Pittsburgh Steelers. They play harder than the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, it was a question you asked,
That's right.
And I was just saying, can we go about my whole thing is giving a guy or a gal the benefit of the doubt.
How's Dan Campbell as a motivator?
He's great.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying Kyle's a bad motivator. I'm just saying that's something that shines through with Dan Campbell. I don't know how Kyle is as a motivator. I think he doesn't have to be a motivator with this team, just like the Giants, when they were rolling, didn't need a motivator. They just needed a guy who puts everything in place. Like George, look at the players on this team. Like McCaffrey, he doesn't need to be motivated. George Kittle, he's self-motivated. Trent Williams is motivated. Like,
what about young Ayuk? And look where he's at now. And now you're gonna be like, well,
he lost him for 2 years.
Well, I'd say a year.
Ryan's in Irvine. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Hey, so I wanted to weigh in on this. There's no such thing as a perfect coach.
Right.
So if Niner fans are trying to find that, it doesn't exist. So case in point, Belichick, no one challenges his credentials or his standing as a coach, but without Tom Brady, struggling. Andy Reid, years of knocking on the door, pretty familiar to like Kyle Shanahan, couldn't get it done until he got Mahomes. I mean, it's like we're nitpicking Kyle, I think. And I agree, Kyle's shortcoming or his weakness is there's a lot of evidence stacked against him when it relates to the quarterback position.
No, those are facts.
I think, I've heard a lot of fans say, I just wish he was more apologetic, a little more open. Like, look at Sean McVay. He's always taking the blame, even if it isn't his fault. I mean, Kyle Shanahan has admitted everything to us about his mistake in not drafting Mahomes by trading 3 first-round picks to take a dynamic potential quarterback. That was him admitting that I made a mistake in not getting Mahomes. His actions tell us that he made a mistake.
No doubt. Well said. Well said. Like, I didn't need to hear Kyle do a mea culpa. The minute they traded Trey Lance, it was a terrible pick.
Right. And I guess, Steiny, I'm stuck on, and that's your prerogative. I'm stuck on the motivating part because you can motivate and manage with fear. Some guys do it.
I know this team doesn't need to
I'm
be
not
motivated.
telling you Kyle Shanahan is Michael Irvin. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying a compliment to his method is his team goes out and plays hard, and I'm getting it too on the text line. But Steiny, you're saying that's what you're supposed to do as a player. But I got to give Kyle credit for that.
The reason Dan Campbell's a motivator is because his players are probably younger, more inexperienced, and have had less success
And he played.
than the 49ers. The 49ers have been to the NFC Championship game 3 years. They're a group of grown-ups, very similar to the Giants when the Giants were winning titles. They've got their Posies and Crawfords. Like, I don't think he has to motivate. Like, if he's not a great motivator, I'm not saying it hurts.
Right.
I'm just saying he doesn't have to be a great motivator for this team. This team motivates itself. This team knows it can win the Super Bowl. This team's got veterans. So I'm not saying
who established those standards.
That's players Kyle. Did. The players.
No, but Kyle was here when some of these players weren't here, and it was bad. He built up a program, Steiny, with those standards.
Standards are not motivation. Standards means that he coached in a way. He's got a coaching style that works. But I don't think, does he motivate, like, can he motivate like Mike Tomlin?
See, and that's where all I was going is until somebody comes out and says he can't, that's a player, I think he gets the benefit of the doubt.
I know. I'm not giving him, he's not a motivator.
Like he's not Mike Singletary.
He doesn't have to, I'm not saying he has to be a motivator.
I got you.
But he's never
But you're saying he's not a great motivator.
He's not.
We don't know that.
Yes, we do.
And I think the one example.
You think he's a rah-rah guy?
No, that's why I said he's not Michael. But you can rah-rah your own type of way.
That's fine. But he's got 58 other traits that are better than his motivation. And you know what? Fine. Let's say motivation / leadership.